time for Seen and Unseen, where we reveal the stories behind the headlines. For that, we turn to Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. Raymond, they didn't get anything because Texas just approved that new congressional map. So I guess the Democrats are back in the state chamber. What was the point of that whole thing?
Well, after fleeing Illinois to parts unknown, Laura, the Democratic representatives were present, and just to make sure everybody in the House was there for today's vote, the Speaker ordered that members who wanted to leave had to go home with a police escort, so some members staged a sleep-in. Naturally, Kamala Harris cheered them on.
You really are inspiring so many people, and I just want you to know that you are among those who history will reveal to have been heroes of this moment. So you just stay strong.
Stay strong. Laura, they're posting Instagram things from the floor and doing podcasts from the House bathroom, which I guess is now history and also illegal.
All of our Democratic elected officials.
Sorry, I have to leave. They said it's a felony for me to do this. Apparently, I can't be on the floor or in the bathroom. Well, you told me I was only allowed to be here in the bathroom. No, hang on. Bye, everybody. I've got to go.
Well, I'll use the word flush. That should be flushed. Raymond, what does Kamala Harris, going back to her, what does she know about inspiring people? You've really inspired people with this brave,
When you're taking history lessons from Kamala Harris, that's probably a bad mentor. I mean, meanwhile, Laura, last week we reported that Chuck Schumer appointed Jack Kennedy's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, to that committee responsible for the country's 250th anniversary.
I am so proud to appoint Jack to the America 250 Commission. We know that Donald Trump will try to aggrandize the whole thing and make it part of him and his ego. There's no better person to push back on that than you, Jack.
No
Laura,
better.
This is what Commissioner Schlossberg has been posting for the last 2 days. Parodies of Melania Trump.
Dear President Putin, every child shares the same quiet dreams in their heart, whether born randomly into nation's rustic countryside or magnificent city center. My fellow Americans, I will be going live, answering all of your questions on my show tonight. It's at 6 p.m. live.
He must have gotten into Hunter's stash or something. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
This is the grandson of a former First Lady, Jackie O. Okay, look, I'm all for political discourse, but what is it? Is this little Jackie's drag race? What is it? This is a perfect example of why Trump should disband this 250 commission and start over. Is somebody like this, a partisan, ever going to really have the best interest of the country when planning these activities? I think not.
No. Well, first of all, that wig, it looks more like my hair, thank you, than Melania's. Melania doesn't have that color hair or that length hair. And does Schlossberg speak like 5 languages? I must have missed that. I must have missed all of his brilliance. Give me a break. But I agree with you. The way that committee's set up, it probably needs to be reconstituted and more representative of actual America.
Exactly. Be respectful of the President
Raymond.
and the First Lady, particularly if you're representing the country or want to do so. Talk to you soon.
Horrible, horrible. All right, Raymond, thank you.
Fox News alert, big intel just got doged. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is taking a hatchet to her own office. She says our spy agencies are bloated, too political, and focusing on all the wrong things. So she's slashing $700 million, along with up to 40% of the workforce, and calling what's left ODNI 2.0. Tulsi Gabbard joins me now. So what moved you to reinvent this office?
As you know, Jesse, this organization, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, was created 20 years ago in the wake of the egregious and strategic intelligence failures around the Islamist terrorist attack on 9/11 in our country. And this office was created by Congress to get after those problems, to make sure that there is one independent body providing that oversight over the intelligence community, integrating intelligence, making sure that the left hand is sharing information with the right hand, and fundamentally and most importantly, ensuring that the intelligence that is being provided to the President of the United States is timely, it is relevant, and it is apolitical objective, that he is actually getting the information he needs to make the critical decisions that he makes every single day. Fast forward to where we are today. ODNI has more than doubled in size. It is bloated with bureaucracy. It is rife with politicization, weaponization, the very thing that it was created to try to prevent and get after. And unfortunately, it has failed to meet its mandate. And so this launch today of ODNI 2.0, as you said, we will save taxpayers more than $700 million every year, cutting the organization by over 40% and making sure that those who are working at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence are aggressively getting after our core mission, which is really ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people.
So you're saying when you got in there, you saw them not synthesizing and sharing intelligence as they should. They were mostly hatchet men for the left and sabotaging people?
You know, sometimes they were sharing, sometimes good work was being done, but too often I was seeing, for example, pockets within the ODNI where partisan political elements were tucked away in the hopes that no one would see their work or see what actions they were taking, and in some cases, very directly. And again, this is after I got in this office, after President Trump was inaugurated, inserting their own partisan views and opinions into intelligence documents. Obviously, you've seen what we've released over the last several weeks of people like Obama's DNI James Clapper and CIA Director John Brennan inserting and politicizing, weaponizing, manufacturing an intelligence document for purely political reasons. This kind of thing, unfortunately, still exists within the intelligence community. The changes that I'm making at ODNI is just the very first step to bring about an end to this dangerous politicization of intelligence that ultimately is undermining our national security and our republic, and make sure that the intelligence community is staying focused on its core mission and then beginning through transparency and accountability to start to earn the trust of the American people that's been broken for a very, very long time.
Director, we're seeing that you got rid of the Foreign Malign Influencer Center. Well, first of all, what was that? And did they resist?
Well, here's what's interesting, Jesse, is this was created under the Biden administration, and ultimately it has been used, and this is documented, there's documented evidence of this, is that it was essentially used as a means to censor Americans' free speech. Calling it, hey, you're spreading disinformation. This center was going and working with different social media companies, saying, well, this is disinformation or misinformation. We have to censor these dissenting voices who are being critical of the then Biden administration. So that's one example of some of the others, once again, who are not only not conducting our core national security mission, but actually existing as a means to politicize intelligence and, in this case, censor free speech of Americans, which is in direct contradiction and undermining of our fundamental constitutional rights.
Well, I'm sure the president's very happy about this, not only because you're kind of rooting out the garbage, but saving almost $1 billion is pretty useful when you're in this much debt.